Thank you for having me. Thanks to Bob for inviting me. And yeah, as Judy was saying, my background is tourism, and I still work obviously in tourism to some extent, but I'm really excited to talk to all of you today. I kind of feel like I'm back with my people. So I'm gonna share some slides, lots of fun visuals here for you guys. There we go. Also, I apologize if my voice gets a little crunchy. I'm fighting some allergies right now. So as Judy said, I work with the Global Philadelphia Association, and I am the World Heritage Program Manager with them. So I want to talk to you today about Global Philadelphia, get into a little bit more details about the World Heritage City Project and some of our initiatives, especially the ones that relate to tourism or could be useful to you. And then I also am going to get a little bit into, because I am an anthropologist, a little bit into deconstructing what we mean by heritage, because I think that a lot of people use that word, and it's obviously part of why we're a World Heritage City. We should have a good understanding of what we mean when we talk about heritage. So I have like a little activity that we'll do at the end where we're kind of deconstructing our own heritage and thinking about it in the context of Philadelphia, and Philadelphia being a World Heritage City. Like I said, I'm from Global Philadelphia. We are a nonprofit. We're a member-based association with over 200 member organizations. And I'll share all these slides later too if you see things that you want to check out later. So don't worry about the websites and everything. So this is our mission statement. We were formed in 2010 as an association because Philadelphia was not considered a global city according to the Olympic Committee. When we were putting forth our bid, when we wanted to host the Olympics, we were told we were not a global city. Lots of people in Philadelphia begged to differ. So the Global Philadelphia Association was formed to represent the organizations, the institutions, the corporations, the universities that are all very active in the global arena. So our mission is to create opportunities for all of these actors within Philadelphia who work internationally, globally, or work with the international community in Philadelphia, because we have a lot of global populations here in the city. So this organization was created to support those communities and to raise Philadelphia's global profile. So part of it is internal, changing attitudes within Philadelphia about whether or not we are actually a global city, whether or not we're on the same level as Paris and all of these other cities that are considered leaders in the global on the global map and destinations for international tourists. Yeah, we wanted to change the perspectives and the attitudes basically of Philadelphians and the way that we think about ourselves, and also how the rest of the world thinks about us. So that's the very lofty goal that we had when we started in 2010. As a member organization, a lot of what we do is create networking opportunities, and we market and promote events and global activities. So we have our website, globalphiladelphia.org. It's pretty active. We get about 6,700 visits on average per month. And on that website, you'll find an events listing and calendar. So if you represent an organization, work for an organization, or have like some tours coming up or a tour program that you're trying to promote, you can email me your website or your information or your Eventbrite, whatever it is, however you promote your tours. And we would be happy to list them on our event listings and our calendar. We also have on the website news articles about global news, global organizations, anything in Philadelphia that about Philadelphia, but in a global context. Also articles just promoting and highlighting different organizations and people in the city that you might not be aware of. And that includes our Global Conversations series, which highlights global leaders in Philadelphia. So they're more detailed profiles and interviews with people who run corporations and organizations that help put Philadelphia on the global map. Then we also have on the website a directory of organizations and lots of other information. We're actually in the process of trying to restructure and organize the website. If you visit it, sometimes it's a little bit difficult to find exactly what you're looking for because there's just so much on there. And I'll get into this, but we have a lot of information about the World Heritage City project on the GPA website. We also operate a mailing list. So in promoting global news and events and specifically the activities of our member organizations, because our members really are our bread and butter. We share events and news through our mailing list. We have about 4,800 subscribers to that. We also have very active social media. You can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. We also have a YouTube channel, but that's a little less active. And you can find links to our social media channels on our website, globalphiladelphia.org. We also have a monthly insider newsletter. So this is a really nice way to just keep on top of events and news that goes out monthly to our mailing list. The Philadelphia World Heritage City Project has a quarterly newsletter that we put out. We also have a newsletter focused on the Sustainable Development Goals and a campaign that we work on related to that, which I'll mention a little bit later, and an education listserv as well. Also on the education side, we've got a lot of education programming. We operate a separate website, and I'll tell you more about that a little bit later, but that's learnphillyheritage.org. Finally, in addition to all of these media channels and promotion and marketing channels, so we can share information and news, we also try to create as many opportunities as possible for people within these communities to network. We consider ourselves the global connector in Philadelphia. And also, if you, again, represent an organization, work for an organization that you think would be interested in becoming a GPA member, get in touch and I can share a lot more information. So one of those networking opportunities every year is usually our Globie Awards. This year it's virtual, so it's going to be a little bit different, but usually it's a luncheon. We recognize leaders in Philadelphia. We have a global corporate leadership, global education leadership, global heritage and preservation leadership, and a community leadership, and then finally lifetime achievement. So there's 5 awards every year. That website that's up there is where you can find more information on that. I invite you to come and join us for the awards and check out who's won in the past and who's winning this year. The official title of this presentation is, what does it mean to be a World Heritage City? Because part of GPA's mission has always been to raise Philadelphia's global profile, in 2013, we started working with the city of Philadelphia in order to get Philadelphia into the Organization of World Heritage Cities and achieve this designation. And in 2015, we became a World Heritage City, and we were the first in the United States. There is also San Antonio, is our sister World Heritage City in the United States. So that means we got the title of World Heritage City because we're a member of the Organization of World Heritage Cities, OWHC. There's about 300 World Heritage Cities worldwide. You can see on that map where a lot of them are located. Also, if you check out that website, ovpm.org, you can see a listing of all of the other cities. You can read about them. And what the OWHC does, other than give us this cool title of World Heritage City, is create an opportunity to connect with you as a UNESCO designated World Heritage Site. I assume that most people in this meeting here know which, you know what Philadelphia's UNESCO World Heritage Site is, which is Independence Hall. That was one of the first designated sites. So when UNESCO first started designating sites, we were top of the list. In 1979, last year, we celebrated our 40th anniversary of that designation. So all UNESCO World Heritage sites have to demonstrate outstanding universal value. So these are sites that represent something that's significant to all of humanity, not a specific locality. So the OWHC provides an opportunity for all of these sites to share best practices and talk about the unique situation of having an important globally recognized heritage site in the middle of an urban area. Most of the United States World Heritage sites are actually natural sites or not located in urban areas at all. That's why, at least right now, we only have 2 World Heritage cities. But we have a lot of other World Heritage cities that we work with, that we're connected well with, and we're also part of the OWHC's regional secretariat that connects us to Northwest in North America. It's kind of a weird, almost gerrymandered geographic collection of World Heritage cities, but we have really good relationships with them as well. And when we made the argument for why we should be a World Heritage City, we had to demonstrate not just that we have this one particular site, but that the city as a whole has global significance to humanity. And of course, we do have that. I'm sure that most of you are very well aware of the fact that Philadelphia's history and global significance and contributions extend well beyond what happened at Independence Hall. So when we made the case, we talked about the diversity of sites and events and people and ideas that have emanated out of Philadelphia historically up until today. So that's why we're a World Heritage City. When we got the designation, we formed with the City of Philadelphia, we initiated the Philadelphia World Heritage City Project. That the overall goal of this project is to basically harness the benefits of this designation to to benefit the people who live in this city. And personally for me, and for the entire project really, but especially personally, an important goal of the World Heritage City Project is to present a more inclusive and representative picture of Philadelphia heritage that we can be very proud of, and of Independence Hall and the history associated with that. But that as a city, we have so much more that we can share with the world and that we can be proud of. And when we talk about Philadelphia heritage, we are talking about a large number of populations, communities, neighborhoods, people, and we can also point to a lot of significant events and places that extend throughout the entire geographic region of Philadelphia. So that's a major goal of the World Heritage City Project, is just to present a much broader and more inclusive understanding to everybody, Philadelphians and visitors alike, of Philadelphia. We want to expand your perception of who we are as a city. Some of you might remember there was a billboard that people still use as an image that says, Philadelphia is not as bad as Philadelphians say it is. So that's part of what the project is trying to do, is to showcase everything that we have to be proud of that's part of our heritage. So we have 4 missions to the project. I'm gonna go through those just to give you a better idea of what we actually do with the project and how you might be interested in some aspect of it that relates to what you do. So the first mission is building World Heritage City awareness and ownership. That speaks to a lot of what I've already talked about. And the specific initiatives, we do a lot of partnership. We are a member organization, so we partner a lot with our members. And so we try to be out in communities, presenting to folks like you. We have a signage campaign. If you have been in Suburban Station in the last year, you might have seen Our World, Our Heritage, Our City. There was 2 big signage displays that were placed down there with some messaging. Just, you know, for a lot of people, they don't know that we're a World Heritage City, and two, they don't know what that means. So that's the main goal of these initiatives. We partner every year with Wow Wow Welcome America, and we are always out doing community festivals and events with our partners, doing tabling events, things like that. Philadelphia World Heritage Day is an annual city holiday that was instituted by Mayor Kenney. And this past year, 2020, was supposed to be our big celebration of 5 years as a World Heritage City, and we were planning World Heritage Week. That ended up being completely virtual. We're not sure what's going to happen in 2021. We'll see. It may be virtual, it may be hybrid, but this is something that's celebrated in a different way every year. This year was, like I said, it was virtual, had a lot of social media campaigning and virtual events, some music, things like that. Last year, we celebrated at Independence Hall because we were celebrating the 40th anniversary of Independence Hall being a UNESCO World Heritage Site. 2018 was really fun. That might have been my favorite year. We were at the Philadelphia Zoo, and we focused more that year on students and children, and we had a great program there. And we were also drawing the connection between cultural heritage and natural heritage, which was a great opportunity to do at the zoo. So keep that date in mind, May 27th, 2021, for the next Philadelphia World Heritage Day. The second mission of the World Heritage City Project is preserving and celebrating our historical and cultural assets. This is where we really try to highlight the cultural diversity of the city and also all of our historic sites. That picture all the way onto the right is a Preservation Alliance tour that we did around Washington Square. We partnered with them for every April 18th is the International Day for Monuments and Sites. So that was something that we did in celebration of that day 2 years ago. We have a National Historic Landmarks project that's been ongoing. We're promoting the Philadelphia's National Historic Landmarks, if you're not familiar, are basically like the national level of a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It's the highest level of recognition that a historic site can get at the national level. So demonstrating significance beyond a specific locality, saying that it's important to all of the citizens of the United States. There's about 2,600 National Historic Landmarks in the United States. Philadelphia has 67 of them. And what's cool about the National Historic Landmarks is that this is a visual and tangible representation of the diversity of Philadelphia's heritage story. So we have a bit of a more geographical spread than a lot of tourists especially, but even Philadelphia residents are aware of. Usually when you think of important historic sites in Philadelphia, you think of Old City, maybe Center City. But as many of you are probably aware, we have so many more communities and neighborhoods that have these amazing places that are not quite as well known. So this project showcases them. We produced a map that you can see here on the left that's beautifully illustrated by a local artist. That's available for sale. You can check that out at the website, but we also have a free interactive Google map of all of the National Historic Landmarks. So if you want to familiarize yourself with them, you might even be featuring some of these on your tours. And this is a cool resource that you can point your audience to, saying, if you want to know more about the whole collection of sites, there's the Google map, there's this print map, and then also on that link, you can see we just finished a full collection of profiles of all of the sites. So it's a little bit of historic background, the significance of these buildings. Not all of them are open to the public or to visitors, I should note that, but a lot of them are. We also have the Philadelphia World Heritage Film. That is a 28-minute documentary that we produced with History Making Productions. If you're not familiar with them and you're somebody who focuses on Philadelphia history in your tours, definitely check out their website. They've got a lot of really great videos and a lot of good learning resources too. I do a lot in education, mostly K through 12, but you know, again, it's talking to an audience about Philadelphia and sharing Philadelphia's history. So this documentary takes you through the whole history of the city from its founding to today, and also talks about why we're a World Heritage City. It's available to stream for free. We have it translated, subtitles translated into 12 different languages, and that link there will take you right to it. The third mission is educating global kids with roots. This is probably our most active mission, where we have the most projects and initiatives related to it. We do school partnerships. We do a lot of teacher professional development. We produce and promote different learning resources. That center picture of that adorable child has the Philadelphia World Heritage coloring book, which is just a fun coloring book that highlights sites throughout the city that represent different aspects of Philadelphia heritage. And it's a really fun activity book for kids. And we have it translated into Spanish and Japanese. So those are available. We also have a teacher guide, which might be interesting to tour guides to see, you know, some of the ways that you can talk about Philadelphia heritage to a much younger audience. This is like ages 6 to 11 is what it's geared to. And then we also have a lot of curriculum materials, the Philadelphia World Heritage Toolkit. That is available for free online. And if you do a lot of family tours with kids, this might be useful to check out because it has some just general informational resources for talking to kids about Philadelphia history, culture, global connections, and just lists out a lot of really cool resources too to look into. You can find that toolkit and the coloring book and the film and basically any sort of learning resource that relates to Philadelphia history, culture, and our global connections and our heritage, all on the Learn Philly Heritage website. Under featured resources, you can see everything that we've developed and have available, but you can also search for and look through over, it's about, I think, 250 resources, everything from videos to field trip opportunities to informational resources and organizations and lots of fun stuff. So you can easily search for and find things there. Also, if you click on About PWHC at the top of that website, there's just a very brief and useful overview of why we're a World Heritage City. We want like a really nice, condensed and clear explanation of how we got that and what it means. The last one is extending Philadelphia's global reach, the last mission of the project. This is where we really try to make those connections actually concrete. So we work with the OWHC, the Organization of World Heritage Cities, to do a couple of global projects and initiatives like a Young Filmmakers competition. And then we also, every 2 years, go to the Organization of World Heritage Cities World Congress. You can see a much shorter hair version of myself on the left presenting in South Korea. On the right, we have Cindy McLeod, the superintendent from Independence National Historical Park, and actually covered it up. Philadelphia 250 is an organization that's planning the 250th anniversary events happening in Philadelphia. So we have Daniel DeLeo Kim on the right, and then GPA's executive directors in the center in that picture on the right. In addition to everything that we do at the OWHC, we also have the Sustainable Development Goals campaign, which has the goal of connecting activity in Philadelphia that is already happening, organizations that are working toward the achievement of the UN's Sustainable Development Goals locally. This is a campaign to try to promote the goals, to have people thinking about what's happening locally that connects into global efforts to achieve the goals. And it's a public art campaign. So that center picture is the public art that went up on the wall of Friends Select School in Center City. It's right across the street from Love Park. If you do any tours around there, this could be a cool stop where there's a piece of public art with a little a banner explaining what it is and what it represents. And it's representing Sustainable Development Goal number 5, which is gender equality. And you can hear more about that project on the GPA website. So, time-wise, all right. I said that I was going to take you through an activity to kind of deconstruct the meaning of heritage and how you could possibly integrate some of that messaging into your tours. And in talking about how Philadelphia is a World Heritage City, it kind of helps to think about what does heritage mean to me, to my audience, to Philadelphia. So this is actually an activity that I go through in a teacher professional development. So it was intended for teachers to think about how they could introduce the concept of heritage to students. But bear with me, let's go through this in your mind. So let's explore what heritage is. Like I said, most people, when they think of heritage, are thinking of history. They're thinking of things that happened in the past, or they might be thinking of ancestors, of their genetic heritage. I have German, English, Irish heritage. And those are certainly aspects of heritage, but it doesn't fully encompass what we mean by heritage. So this is UNESCO's definition. Heritage is our legacy from the past, what we live with today, and what we will pass on to future generations. So this is a really nice way of encompassing everything that heritage is. Heritage is inheritance. It's what we've inherited from past generations that make us who we are today. So there's an important identity side to it. Heritage helps make up who we are today. And it's also what we're going to pass on to future generations. So in thinking about heritage, or basically anything, it's anything too abstract, it's really helpful to start personal. So I usually tell teachers it's useful to talk to their students, and maybe you want to do this with your tour groups if you're really delving this deep into heritage. Name something that you inherited. Think of something that you inherited, whether it's something tangible, or if you're on a tour, you could be talking about an actual building or object that you're looking at that's tangible. Or it could be something that you inherited that's intangible, like a characteristic or a belief or personality trait. Then I want you to think, why is this thing important to me? Why is this item or this personality trait or something that connects me to a larger community? Why is it important to me? And how is it a part of my identity? How has it helped form who I am? So that's the starting personal. Then you can push it outward and think about Philadelphia's heritage. So what have past generations given Philadelphia? What have we as a city inherited from past generations that make us who we are today, that have created the ethos, the character of Philadelphia? How does this heritage impact the city today? There have been a lot of conversations happening this summer about who we are as a city. How has what we've inherited from past generations, good and bad, how has that impacted these conversations, the way that we see ourselves today? And who is it that we want to be in the future? When teachers are talking to students, this is the part that students will sometimes get really excited about, because they're used to hearing, and I imagine tour audiences a lot are used to hearing information about others. But this is what happened. This is what happened in the past. But thinking about yourself as a part of that story, as a part of that process of creating identity and heritage, what would you want future generations in Philadelphia to inherit? and then bringing it back to the personal. What does Philadelphia's heritage, how does it impact you? What does it mean to you? And then again, you can push it out even further, looking at how Philadelphia has inherited a lot from the rest of the world, from past immigrant groups that have come in, from current immigrant populations, from different ideas that have started somewhere else and arrived here and became their own thing here, became part of the fabric of Philadelphia. And also, what has Philadelphia given the rest of the world? That brings it right back to why we are a World Heritage City. We are a World Heritage City because of the impact that we have had on the rest of the world historically and today. Today, we are known as a meds and ed city. But if you look at the history of Philadelphia, in terms of public health and medical advancements, there's a lot of really cool things to explore that connect what happened in the past to who we are today and the impact that we're having today on the rest of the world. And just one site that embodies that really well, if you're not aware of it, is the Wagner Free Institute of Science, not too far off of Temple's campus. It's a free museum. It's amazing. I don't have a lot of time to get into it. I could talk about Wagner for a while, but that's a site that embodies that really well. It's also a National Historic Landmark. So in summation, heritage is all about connections. Connections with the past, present, future, connections between the self, extending outward to your family and community and how you're connected there, and extending out to the rest of the world, how you're basically a global citizen and what that actually means. And again, making that connection between what's personally meaningful and then what is considered universally significant or meaningful or having universal value. That is probably where tour guides might focus most of their thinking about heritage, is how can I make these sites that I'm saying are important, that this group or this person or this general idea that this is an important site, this is important information, this is something that you should want to know. How can you make that personally meaningful? Heritage might be a good way of introducing that, the personal meaning into that. So the final thing, I'm going to open it up to questions that you might have about Global Philadelphia or the World Heritage City Project or anything that I talked about. But I also have questions for you. So feel free when we open it up and people can unmute, feel free to actually respond to some of these things that I'm putting out there as things to think about, because I'm really interested to hear from you. How do you represent Philadelphia's heritage in your tours? Is it something that you think about, talk about? Have you been talking about it without realizing it? How could you present Philadelphia's heritage in a more inclusive way? Like I said, part of the goal of the project is to think about, okay, what are the missing pieces to Philadelphia's heritage story when we represent ourselves to outsiders, when we present who we are as a city and our history or culture or any aspect of the city that you're talking about, who is missing from that narrative? That's something that I try to be really intentional about, and I'm always finding missing pieces that need to be added. When we think of Philadelphia history, a lot of times we think about Philadelphia started with William Penn, but obviously there were people here before anybody from Europe, and there's lots of really cool resources and information out there on the Lenape, which was the main Native American group that was in this area. So that's a group that is often missing from the narrative when we talk about Philadelphia heritage and history. And then what does Philly's heritage mean to you? Is someone singing? It sounds like someone was singing. I'm okay with it. You can sing in the background. But what does Philly's heritage mean to you? Is that expressed in your tours? Do you represent your own heritage? If you feel a strong connection to a particular community, Do you share that on your tours? If so, how? This is one of the questions that I would actually really like to hear responses from. And then how does your audience respond? Does that help connect them to the place and to your stories that you're sharing with them? How could you be using the concept of heritage to make the tour personally meaningful to your audience? And then finally, kind of a sub question of that last one, how could you use tangible heritage, which is probably the focus of a lot of what your tour groups are looking at, so it's engaging, you know, at least your eyes. How could you use that tangible heritage to explore intangible heritage? So getting into the meaning and the significance, and thinking about how this site or object or whatever it is that you're looking at and pointing out and giving a story about, how does that represent Philadelphia and our identity and who we are? Why is it meaningful to us? Why should it be meaningful to the tour audience that we're speaking with?